Hello once again to everybody, and today we are going to draw and paint a bumblebee. Now the drawing in a sense is very simple for a bumblebee. First things first is the head, which is kind of a sideways curved triangular shape. So that's one point of the triangle, curved upwards, curved top. Now that's essentially the head. Now the eyes, kind of very odd shape, they kind of curve upwards like that. Very odd shape, very hard to explain that shape. I'd say it's just kind of I suppose it's a boomerang style shape. And then we've got a little bit down here, kind of a little triangular shape again, curved triangle. Some little antennae. There we go. Let's stick out the bottom with little curves on the edges. Now we've got the top antennae, we'll do them now. Oh, it's got a curve here first. Put that in. Right then, coming out that top curve, we've got a tiny little straight bit. And then another short bit. There we go, it's like a lamp post. And the one on the other side. You can see more of that. Let's stick that a lot further. That's a much longer lamppost. Right, okay. I think that's the head done. Right then, the first stripe. Now this one will be yellow when we paint it. Basic shape. There we go. Right, and then we go into a black one. Right, we can kind of straighten off on this one. It's the tallest part of the bee. And we can't easily see the bottom because the legs are there, but it goes roughly like that. And right then, the next section is all yellow. It's a long section. Now this is also tricky because some of it's covered by the wings, but we need to give a rough guide for ourselves. So just slowly curving downwards, and this stripe doesn't go all the way down because of where the legs are. So about halfway across the body, we're going to kind of do a curved line downwards and curve it back up, and there's the centre bit, which will also be yellow. And then we go back into the black. Now we're curving much further down now. There we go. Let's see. And then the last bit is white. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the white on the tail means it's either a male bee or a worker bee from the bumblebee species. The queen bee has an orange tail. Right then, it looks very odd shape at the moment, doesn't it? Right then, let's get some legs on it. Let's see, so we'll start with the front one here. That comes out the bottom of the first yellow section. So we do a little straight line and a curve, and it goes down. It's got a little, like a foot on the end actually, it's very weird. Okay, right, the next one comes right out the middle. So nice big bit thicker this leg is, I do believe. There we go. And let's see, now this bit. So it goes finish. The actual legs cross over there. Well, it doesn't matter too much. There we go. And the other leg is very odd. It's hard to see because it's very dark in here. But the back leg is a very, very big. It's like another big piece, kind of boomerang shape, curved end. Now the joint here, and then it goes downwards into like I suppose we call that a baseball bat shape. And there's another element here. A straight bit with the curved edge, and then the final bit is a very long foot which is made up of little sections. and curves away like that. Now at the moment it looks very un-Bumblebee like, it looks very weird. Right, let's see, now the wings. Kind of a ball shape there to start with. And then we're going to go upwards and away slightly. There we go, like that. And a straight bit. And go back to the start point there, but this one's going to be longer and go past the edge of that straight bit there. And outwards, flick. We have a V shape there. And back to the ball bit again. And do a little curve, straight bit there. Slightly going upwards. Flick round. This kind of curves out very slowly and gets wider. And what we do is slowly join these up. So we curve down, 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 and stop there. Then that line we did to start with, we carry that all the way along, slowly going downwards, connect it up there. Now inside here there's a few little lines that you just need to kind of, it shows the textures of the wings. The other wing we can actually see behind it, so we can draw that in there. Curvy wurvy line, that kind of tucks back in, and we draw some straight lines going at an angle upwards. Alright, then we go back to the main wing, two lines there, they are connected. Got some curvy bits there, some other scattery lines, and there we go. I think essentially we've got our Bumblebee drawing. It doesn't really look like a Bumblebee at the moment, it looks a bit of kind of a weird alien creature at the moment. But once we've done the, started adding paint, it'll look much better and much fuzzier. Now just do a little background, I'm going to do a little rough shaped leaf there, another random line there. And that's all I think we need just to show a basic background. Just do a few lines to show we've got a leaf. There we go. Okay, we can add some paint now. Right, the painting. First things first, we need to do the background, which is a really simple, really quick procedure we're going to do for this. We're going to start off over here behind the leaf and just do a very faded green. And that's all we're going to do, just a faded blurry green just to back it in. We just want a blocked out background. So I've just got mixing my green. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow into it. And perhaps even a dab of white as well. Just to get a little bit of a colour. And I might mix it up as I go along. And then all we do, as you can see, because I've mixed up the green with the yellow and white, I get a bit of a mixture of colours. Just quickly block it in. We're not after any detail, we're just some rough strokes just to show a bit of a background colour. I might do a couple of variations on how I throw it on with my brush stroke, but there'll be nothing more than that. Not really after neatness for the background. As I'm coming a bit closer to the leaf, I'm adding more of just the green. It's just going to help make the leaf stand out a little bit more in a moment when we add the paint to the leaf. Using a bigger brush for this. There we go. Nice and quick, doesn't take long to do, and we've just got that layer on there. Right, this same tone we've got here, we're going to put down there because that's a gap in the leaf, and that'll just add an extra element to the picture. So I'm going to keep going just the green now, because it's going to help if this is dark, because our leaf is going to be quite a bright green. It's going to have quite a bit of yellow in the green in a moment, so we're going to keep with this green, just the green. Very careful around the underside, don't worry if you go over it slightly, because we're going to paint over them shortly. There we go, just blocked it in. I might add a darker bit in places, so down here I might make it just a little bit darker still by going back into the paint again. That's just changing up the background a little bit. Right, okay. That's the background to the leaf now. We're going to do this big leaf now. The leaf looks big, but remember the bee is actually quite small. So, what we're going to do is we take our green and add quite a bit of yellow to it, really. So we want quite a bright green. Right then, let's have a look, see what green we've got here. This might not be light enough yet. Let's see. That's nice. I'm going to add a bit more yellow, I think. I want a bit lighter than that. Let's try that, see what we get. That's better. Now I'm going towards this line here. Pulling my brush strokes away from the edge into the middle. That kind of shows the some of the shape of the leaf, and it's leaving these nice little darker lines on my brush as well from the brush. I'll just do a very thin line on the edge. There we go. Just keep bringing it in, very careful around the bee. If you go over it, don't worry about it. You can colour it in later anyway. I might even just put a hint of green through there, because the wings are partially transparent. They're kind of an opaque. And I've made the leaf go a little bit lighter as we've gone down, because I've added a little bit more yellow. But I'm not going to add much detail to the leaf, because the bee is the star of the painting, and that's what we want. Now down here we're going to change the angle and go towards the point of the leaf. It's a bit darker there. I've dragged some of the darker green I had, but don't worry about that. I'll just add to the picture. There we go. Much lighter towards the end of the leaf. Right, let's see, we'll do this bit now. This stage is very much just blocking the colours in. Now I've gone a bit darker there, I've had a bit more green back in there. Now this side we're curving away from that centre line of the leaf, so I'm going to keep just curving it away. So same again, steadily work your way along, just curve it away. Now you may have to keep mixing up your colour, keep adding more paint to it, like I'm doing, because I haven't made up enough colour. But it doesn't matter because it adds slightly variation to your leaf, which I think is a good thing. It adds just that little bit of detail. Just keep working your way along. That's the reason I've not been talking for a few minutes. I've just got on with it and just carried on painting. As you can see, you just got to work your way along. It's it is a bit of a painstaking process. And you've just got to work your way along. Now just a note, I've not washed my brush at all. I've just kept using the same. I've not even washed it at one bit. I've just added colour to it and just worked my way along. Now this is the tricky bit here. I've gone a little over where I shouldn't have done there, but never mind. That's me talking, not concentrating. But never mind. Mistakes happen and we just go with it. So that line needs to go down a bit more. It's under the B there, so we can go a little darker there. And that wouldn't matter too much there. Okay, we've almost done this locking in process. A bit more yellow, it's a bit too greeny. There we go. But there we go, that's the leaf done. I've kept it nice and simple. It looks quite rough, but we're not too fussed about that. But there we go. So that's all the background and the leaf all done. That's the green done. We can now wash our brushes. Right, first bit of the bee. Now we're going to go and do the actual bottom of the bee. And we're going to use pure white for this. So get a big blob on your paintbrush and we're very gently going to tap. That's all we're going to do is tap the back of the bee. That's all we're going to do. Make sure it's nice and thick. Make it look like a little bit under the leg there. And make it look like it's really hairy. There we go. And that's all the white on the bee. Now what we might have to do is go back over that later. But that's it for now. That bit's done. So we wash our brushes again. And next time You might want to just dry your brush as well to get any of the excess white off, because we don't want that on. Right, then go into your yellow. Make sure your yellow's very pure yellow. Make sure there's none of that green in it. And now we're going to the yellow section. So the first bit we're going to do is this bit here. Okay. Very careful not to lean on your white paint, because that will still be wet. And again, big thick blob of yellow, and slowly tap away. Try not to go back over it if you can avoid it, unless you've missed a bit. And don't worry about going over the lines either. Okay, right then, let's go into our next bit of yellow. So reload your brush, you might need to. And we've got this bit behind the wings. Okay, you've got to be a little bit careful here, but don't worry because we're going to go over the wings later anyway. So again, tapping away. Do not drag your paintbrush at this point, just tap it. That's what we need to do. There we go, and we can see a little bit of yellow on the wing, so I'm just going to actually... Now this bit you can drag your brush along. I'm just going to show there's a hint of yellow there, that there's meant to be some yellow there. Okay. Right, underneath the wing we've got to tap, so I'm going to reload my brush with again. And then back to tapping underneath the wing. Now as you can see, I've gone over the lines. I'm not fussed by that, because as we go into the darker colours, that gets taken over. Okay, there we go. And that's the yellow done, so we can wash our brushes now. Excellent. Right, the next bit, you'll need a medium grey. Now I'm going to try and show you with that bit there. I've mixed up, so a good blob of white with a little bit of black, and you want like a medium-y grey. I'll show you as I put it on the bee. Now we'll start with the head. I'm hoping, and we're going to tap in again. This bit we've got to be careful with the head because there's several colours in there of different greys. So we're tapping around. Now I know a lot of people say, oh, but the Bumblebee is black. Well, it is black. But the underlying colour we need first is the grey. And we're going to add the black afterwards. There we go, that's the first bit. Oh, hold on, reload my brush. I'm tapping again. I'm going into the second ring now. Just be careful when you're going around the legs. Don't worry if you go over it a little bit. Be careful when you're going over the bee as well, because you don't want to lean on any of the wet paint with your hand. That's why my hand's way off the paper. And the beauty of doing this tapping technique, you don't actually need to lean on the actual paper itself. Starting to look a bit like a bee now, which is good. There we go. Okay. Right, next bit. I think we will do the wings next, which is a really pale watery grey. Now we're going to need probably the thinner paintbrush for this section, and what you need to do is get some water on your brush, go into the grey you've just used and water it down. Take a little blob of it and water it down so you've got a really, really thin grey. I'm not changing the colour of the grey at all with any more paint. I'm just adding a little bit of water to a little blob of it, and it will basically become a watercolour. Beauty of acrylics, you can actually kind of turn them into a very effective watercolour by just adding some water to them. And we're just colouring the wing very carefully. We've got to be very careful with this bit that we only colour the wing in. So but make sure you add enough water to make your paint flow, because we don't want the paint to be thick. We actually want this paint to be quite transparent here. And that's the beauty of when you watercolour, the paint is transparent. And there we go. And that's the wing done. It's a really simple little technique to show the transparency of what we need. Right, what we'll go on to now, we're going to do the legs next, I think, and the antennae, which is basically black. I think we'll black them in first, then we'll add some tones over the top of the black once it's dry. So we'll need the black next. We'll need to use the thin paintbrush. Very, very careful you need to be here, very steady hands. Try not to lean on your paper. I've got my other hand underneath my hand, so I'm not leaning. And that's just giving me something to lean onto, so I'm not leaning on the painting. So we'll do this antennae up here first. Very, very careful, very thin, very light pressing with the paintbrush. I've got lots of paint on there, but I'm pressing on very, very lightly to keep it nice and thin. Don't be afraid to just do a tiny bit, go back and get a little bit more paint. It's very, very delicate. That's what you've got to be, is very delicate. There we go. I'm going to leave the two down here because they're much lighter greys, so we're going to do them later. So we're going to work on the three legs now, so I'm going to reload my paintbrush again. Even though the legs are quite thick, still going to use the thin paintbrush here. I've got a lot of paint on this paintbrush, possibly too much. We'll see. Yes, a little too much, but we can make that work. So very, very carefully. Still using my hand to balance on. Right, I can move straight down now. There we go. I've left a gap there because the main leg goes in front of the front leg, so yeah, okay, right, let's get a bit more paint. Right, the middle leg. Don't just paint the whole leg in one go, because it's separated, do it as sections. It makes it look a lot more like there's three elements or more to the leg. There we go. I put too much paint on there, as you can see. But there we go, simple fix and it's sorted. Right, so we go to the back leg now. All this area in here is very dark. We're going to go back and just darken that in later. Now it's a little bit light there. I've gone and leave that a little bit lighter. Let's see, there's quite a lot of elements to the back leg. They're quite lighter here, but I'm going to do them in black to start with, and then I'll go back over them. There we go. Okay, right, that's the legs done now. Right, the other bit that's really black is the eye area. But we've got to be careful, you don't just colour in the whole eye, because there's a really lovely reflection, and it's very important to get that reflection in there. So we start at the bottom, just going to work our way up. And the reflection's kind of in the middle here. There we go. This dark area does go off quite a bit as well. It goes down here as well. So we'll darken that bit in. There we go. This bit here and this bit down here is quite light, so I think we'll do them next. So we need a light grey, so I'm just going to wash the excess black paint off my brush and dry it off. So we're going to add a little bit of white to our watery grey we had earlier, I think. And very, very carefully colour that bit in. There we go, that's lovely. We've got that bit down there. Now this should only show through a little bit. It has done, that's lovely. Right, a bit of lighter grey. I'll just add a bit of grey into it with a bit more white. And then we can do the antennae down here. There's a few extra bits underlying. I'll just add them in there. There we go. And that bit's done. Lovely. Right, let's see. Now we're going to darken this section in here, I think, now, because that's much darker first. So I'm going to use the small brush still and just get a bit of black, just black. Now be very careful here not to overdo this bit. So it goes underneath the yellow patch and around the top of that leg there, and a little bit under the leg. And a bit round there. Okay, lovely. Just be careful not to go into the wing. We want to leave the wing as is. We don't want to touch the wing. But around the joint of the wing, it is also quite dark as well. So very, very carefully around the top of the wing joint. Okay, right, lovely. Now using the thin brush and the black paint, we'll stick with the black for now, I think. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do it. We're going to create the fur of the bee. So very lightly we're going to draw some lines, just very delicately. In certain places. I want above the eye there definitely needs that darker colour, and just below the eye as well. So as you can see, I'm just very lightly, almost not touching the paper, just gently, just going to go into the antenna with a little bit of that as well. Add only a little bit of black to your brush, you don't need a lot. And just work your way round. That's too thick there, as you can see. That's why you've got to be really, really delicate. I'm going to leave that bit there because that's actually quite light there. Back into the black again. To get a nice fine point on your brush, just spin it round in a spiral and that will help. We'll go under the wing next. See, I don't want to give up all that grey I've put underneath. It's adding a nice tone to it. So there we go. It's underneath the legs as well. So, and right, we'll go up here now because this is going to be a little bit tricky, this bit. Just keep working on. Take your time. It's very important you take time. This is very delicate brushwork you have to do. I've got too much paint there. There we go. And just work your way up in layers. There we go. As you can see, the grey is really showing through, which is very important. Now the next bit back here is a little bit different. The black section is just the bit behind the yellow. And that is about it. It gets very much lighter, and we're going to turn it into grey in a minute. I'm going to go back into our grey. Got a bit too thick there, but never mind. There's a smaller second layer just down here. It's quite black as well, so I'm going to do that bit as well. There we go. Okay. Starting to look a bit like a bumblebee now. Right, now we've done the black, we're going to just quickly wash our brush to get the excess black off. Then the grey we used earlier, we're going to add some white to it again. You may still have some left. And we want a lighter grey, much lighter grey than we already have. It's kind of a whitey grey. I'm hoping this will be white enough. Let's have a look. There we go, look. And as you can see, it has to be white enough to stand out above that grey we used, but not white. It's a light grey. Because underneath there's also this as well, and this goes quite far down actually, so it goes right in. We can overlap into the green of the leaf. Don't worry if you do that, that's fine, because all that green should have dried by now. And there's quite a lot under here. It actually goes underneath this leg. So we're going to add that in. I've even gone slightly into the bottom of the white there, because we're going to need this partially for the white in a minute. We've got a tiny bit to do on the white. There we go. Right then, so the bottom part of the white has got this grey in as well. We're going to be quite careful here. We don't want to ruin the white. Just a little bit there. Right, okay. I'm going to use this again for this tuft we have at the front as well, on the head, top of the head. There's a little bit there. It's quite a lot there actually. So add that in. There we go. I've got a little bit into the black, but I'm not fussed. And there's a little bit as well underneath. I'll add that in there too. Right, with the same colour, I'm going to work on the legs a little. We're going to add a little bit of detail to the legs. So I've got the front leg here. It's got this little bit on it. Legs aren't completely black. They've got kind of some bits of lightness on them. I'm just going to add that little bit in there. It's going to give them that extra bit of detail, which I think will be quite nice. You could even add a hint of blue in there, because there's a slight blue shine, but I'm going to shy away from that. I'm just going to keep it as it is, otherwise it'll mean getting another colour out. A little bit of hairs coming off the bottom of the legs as well, so you can add them in with the grey. I've got too much paint there, let's just lose some of that, there we go. Alright, this big leg here is quite dark until we get to about here. I'm going to give it a bit of an outline there. There we go. Just work away along, just little marks, that's all. That's all you need to do, little marks. Just going to make these shapes at the bottom stand out a bit on that bottom leg, there we go. Right, we're nearly there. So, I'm going to go into the white again. Just the white. Right, this bit you've got to be really delicate, so we're going to go into the top of the yellow with the white. Not too much paint there. There we go. Mainly on the top, there's a little bit down here. A few little strokes to show the hairs, and there's a bit more white here, there's a lot more white on this bit, so quite a lot of area there, there we go. And there's a bit under the wing as well. And there we go, we've just about got a finished Bumblebee, I think. Nice little simple painting to do. I've only used 4 colours to create what we've got here today. It's a simple little picture, doesn't take long at all to do, and it's a good little fun thing to have a go at. Right, thank you very much for watching.